Hey guys, welcome to the Field of 68 YouTube channel. If you like what you see here, hit that subscribe button and you'll get more college basketball content just like this. So I want to turn this towards the Kentucky side. Where do they go from here? When we had this conversation at Mandalay Bay, the first weekend of the NCAA tournament, the thing that kept coming up in these conversations that we were having was $33 million buyout.
Sure.
That is a massive number. And
And
even if you were going to buy him out, then how much can you go out and spend on another coach's buyout, on another coach's salary? There are a lot of guys that have signed new deals recently that would price you out. I mean, it doesn't matter who you are. You cannot pay $50 million in buyouts, $33 million for Kentucky, and then let's just say like 15, 16, 17 million for some of these other guys that were named. You just can't do that. It's not possible when you then have to pay a salary. Now you don't have to pay that $33 million. Can you go spend the, what is it, $18 million to get Nate Oates? Correct me if I'm wrong on that number. The 17 to get TJ. You know those numbers better than me, so go ahead.
It's $18 million. Nate Oates just signed a new deal. I don't think they're going to spend $18 million, but man, Nate Oates would be a good pick there, right? I mean, he'd fit about as well as anybody. He's kind of a young Cal in a way, right, with a personality, fiery, a younger Cal. No? Outgoing.
Make your point. Go ahead.
Listen, I'm tired. I got like 4 hours of sleep. Young personality wise, not how they like personality, big. They'll say anything. They'll rally the fan base. Obviously, Nate's way ahead of what Cal is in terms of adapting. He's younger, all that. I'm saying a young Cal when Cal first got to Kentucky, rallying the fan base. Anyway, $18 million. I don't think it's going to happen. TJ Otzelberger, $17 million. He doesn't fit in Lexington, Kentucky anyway. The names that I think, again, if I'm Mitch Barnhart, who am I looking at? Well, I'm gonna see what's going on with Dan Hurley. I don't think there's any way Dan Hurley and Andrea Hurley want to be in Lexington, Kentucky. Could you imagine Andrea Hurley in Lexington, Kentucky?
No, that's the wrong fit. That situation to me is Dan Hurley's agent is going to use this to get whatever the hell he can.
Does he even need to? I mean, he's already got leverage. By the way, he's in the national title game tomorrow.
Wait, he's what?
Yeah. So he's fine.
Hold on. What?
He'll get a new deal.
Who's in the national title game?
Purdue. Anyway, the names that I think are more likely, okay, to me, Scott Drew's got a buyout. My sources tell me of $4.5 million. $4.5 million.
All right, hold on. Let me stop you there. When we talked about Scott Drew earlier, I remember you saying this, and tell me if I'm wrong, because we're literally doing this live. We didn't plan this at all. Jeff was in the room of our Airbnb about 25 minutes after being on the phone for the last hour of our show and being on the phone the entire drive back from downtown Arizona to Scottsdale. We haven't planned this out at all. We just went. Did Scott Drew sign that new contract extension yet?
I'm just saying that it's $4.5 million, the buyout. That's what I'm told. So whether he signed it or not, the buyout is $4.5 million is what I'm told. Okay, so it's very reasonable. Now, does Scott Drew fit in Lexington, Kentucky? In a way, I say yes, right? Go out and kiss babies, shake hands. I just, the one thing I worry about Scott, and he'll be okay with a fishbowl. Like, there's nobody nicer than Scott Drew, right? There's nobody more personable than Scott Drew. I just worry if he doesn't win there. How he reacts.
Okay. I'm not worried about Scott Drew not winning at Kentucky.
Good point. You're right. I mean, obviously what he's done at Baylor, especially over the last decade, is absolutely ridiculous. So yes, if you're Mitch Barnhart, you have to go after Scott Drew. Okay. Like that's one of those guys at the top. Billy Donovan, a name you've got to talk about, right? You've got to call Billy Donovan. Now, again, he turned down Kentucky twice. Okay. When Cal took it, he turned it down then. Right now, he's coaching for the Bulls. They're in the playing game right now. I don't know. I don't think Billy Donovan would want to get back into college coaching yet. And they might not fire him either. Jerry Reinsdorf, I don't know if he's going to make a move to fire Billy Donovan anyway. So I'm not sure how likely that one is. Bruce Pearl. If you remember, we talked about the Kentucky job, and I said, who fits the Kentucky job better than Bruce Pearl? A little bit older, and I get it. People are going to point to the fact that, well, they haven't done anything in the tournament either.
I'll tell you what. Bruce Pearl.
Yeah.
When it comes to how old he is,
Yeah.
he's got the energy level of a 24-year-old. Like
Yeah.
that dude is not. What is he? 60 now? He's got to be getting up there. 59. But whatever it is, he is not. He 64.
Right.
He does not
No.
act like a
He
64-year-old.
can give you again. You're looking for like a 5-year window at this point. You know, that's what you're hoping for, right? 5-year window. And that's, I think, what a lot of people, you know, obviously if you can get somebody younger, that's great. But to me, if you can get 5 years out of Bruce Pearl, what you'll get. Again, Bruce's buyout is not unreasonable. It's more than Scott Drew's, probably in the $7 million range is what I've been told right now. But I think he'd fit perfectly, right? Energy, gets his kids to play hard. Good X's and O's coach. And again, they're going to point to the lack of success. It was Auburn. Auburn. Like, well, let's put in perspective what he's built at Auburn. Tony Barbee sucked, right? Jeff Lebo sucked. When he took over that job, it was one of the worst jobs in all of Power 6, college basketball.
In 10 years, he's taken Auburn from a job that we all laughed at when he said, like, I think I can make Final Fours and win national titles at Auburn, to one of the toughest home court environments you're going to find in college basketball, period, to a program that has won, and I'm doing this live, so I don't have the info in front of me. Maybe my producer Trevor can feed it to me, but he's won 2 SEC tournament titles, 2 SEC regular season titles, and made a Final Four in the last 5 years at Auburn. Trevor's going to correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sure people in the chat are going to be yelling at me if that's wrong, but I think you're 100% right. Now, if you were asking me, I think the 2 names that I would be deciding between would be, if let's just throw money out the window, right? If you don't have to have that conversation, the 2 guys that I think would make the most sense are Nate Oates and Bruce Pearl. My only question, and you know Nate better than I do, I feel like Bruce Pearl would thrive in the spotlight. Like, he wants to be the center of attention. I don't know if Nate is necessarily that same kind of person. I think Nate is very, very happy being at a place like Alabama, where he has everything that he'll need to get to a Final Four, but he doesn't have to be like the guy at the center of attention 24/7 like he does at Kentucky.
The other part is he's got, these guys, it's very important, they're the administration. And he's got Greg Byrne right now as his athletic director who hired him. Mitch Barnhart is not going to be there much longer at Kentucky. So you don't know who your next AD is going to be if you take that job. I'm with you. Listen, I think Nate can fit at Kentucky. I do. I think his personality works in Lexington. But yeah, I mean, with what they've done, they just went to a Final Four. They're going to step up in terms of NIL and some of those other things. So I don't know if Nate's necessarily the guy there, or will be, especially with that $18 million buyout. That's a lot of money. I don't care what you just saved with Calipari. To me, $18 million buyout is really hefty.
But so, okay, look, I know it's a big number, right? It's $18 million. And in college athletics, I feel like when we talk about
it's SEC football money.
Yeah, it's kind of funny money at some point when you're talking about it. But like, we were talking about Kentucky potentially spending $33 million to get rid of John Calipari. So, like, if you're not going to spend, if you kind of thought about having to spend that already, and now you're like, well, it's only half of it, and now maybe we can give this guy more money as well. And also, you got to get this right. Like, you can't, I don't think that you can shortchange yourself when you are the University of Kentucky. I don't think that you can shortchange yourself. So, like, why not? What else are you going to spend the money on? You can't take it with you.
I'm looking at some of the other names in our chat for the hell of it. So keep those rolling, and I'll kind of approach some of those as I see them. Brad Stevens, hell no. He'd be atrocious at Kentucky. Absolutely atrocious. He would never go there in a million years. What was another one I just saw up there? Will Wade. The problem with Will Wade, and he couldn't even get involved at Arkansas, was because Greg Sankey, the SEC commissioner, some of the other ADs, he's still got the show cause. He's still got the show cause right now. So I don't think he'll be in the equation at all. Sean Miller, interesting name. Okay, interesting name. I don't know how good Sean would be at Kentucky. The more I think about Sean and his personality and kissing babies and being out there, Sean's gotten better. Sean's gotten better at it. I think we've made him better at it. But I don't know if Kentucky. Now again,
hold on. I do just want to say that when you are at Arizona, it is not the same level as it is at Kentucky, but there is still an element of there is still an element of you are the basketball coach at a basketball program that has expectations of winning national titles.
Yeah, I just think, again, maybe it's changed because Cal hasn't got out that much in Lexington over the last, however many years, and it changed since COVID a little bit.
No chance it's changed. What are we talking about? It's Kentucky. We're talking about Kentucky.
Yeah, but I'm saying maybe you don't have to be out there quite as much. Maybe you don't have to be out there talking as much because really, ultimately, what is it about? Having dinner with boosters, having dinner with the NIL people. That's the key.
Well, the thing that Cal was so good at, and it kind of died off a little bit, like you can't do it as much once you're not winning, but it was the social media side of it. It was the online presence. It was the kind of embracing what people wanted to see from you from a public perspective. Like the whole bit between him and his wife, like taking out the trash and the roommate stuff, I think played really, really, really well in Lexington.
Yeah, I'm looking at some of these other comical names. Some were a joke.
All right, let me ask you this: what would be the funniest hire? What would be the funniest hire? Because I think the funniest hire would 100.
Rick Pitino would be the funniest hire. But
can you actually do that?
No, I don't think so. I don't think it's a right hire there. Now, I really don't. I think there are other guys that you want to hire that are going to give you more time than Rick Pitino is going to give you, right? I mean, Bruce Pearl, to me, can give you the same things, and he's going to fire up the fan base. Again, Scott Drew. I mean, again, I think with that buyout, McDermott, we're seeing Rick Barnes, Chris Beard. Chris Beard's an interesting one. He's an interesting one. Obviously, you got the baggage from a couple of years ago. Is Mitch Barnhart the type of guy that's going to go after Chris? Maybe. I mean, again, that's a name that certainly a lot of people are going to talk about. And if you're Mitch Barnhart, you better already have had a list. Like, to me, you better already have had a list because you kind of have known that this day could come. Whether you were going to make the move, maybe a year from now, whatever it is. But if you're a good AD, you've got a list already and you know the buyouts. You already know quickly because the longer you wait on this, I mean, everybody, think about this. We haven't talked about this. All those guys at Kentucky now, they're gone. They're all gone, right? Either the draft, which we know a lot of them were going anyway.
And it's not just the guys that are leaving. It's all the freshmen. But like we were talking about it with the preseason top 25. All the recruits that were coming in are now going to have to make a decision. Are they going to come to Kentucky? Are they going to go follow John Calipari to Arkansas?
No, I mean, again, you'd think they'll probably follow Cal. The question's going to be, right, Kentucky just had that juice to it, right? As a program, it just has that juice that Arkansas doesn't have. But Cal has the juice to be able to get guys to the NBA. So the question is going to be, can John Calipari get those top 10 high school players again? What's so funny?
The names coming in, Kenny Payne had me dying. Jeff Goodman, John Fanta, LeBron. Yeah, John Fanta, LeBron. No, there's some really good names. There's a couple more that I just want to hit you on because I've seen them pop up in the chat. I would say Matt Painter, no chance. Less than zero.
Not leaving. Listen, he's in the national title game at his alma mater.
Well, let's just say even if let's take away the national title game in the alma mater, like Matt Painter is not going to want to go to and Lexington where he is the face of everything. Right. He's not.
You got to understand. There's so many people right now that are happy in their current situations. Who you got? Mark Pope back to Kentucky. I mean, listen, I think he could be down the list. I do think Mark Pope could be down the list.
The more I think about it,
Scott Drew. If you're Scott Drew, you already basically passed on Louisville, right? You passed on Louisville. Mm-hmm. Are you going to go to Kentucky? Now, obviously, Kentucky's a better program. They have resources, not unlimited, but they have highest level resources. Again, I just think it's hard. You opened a building last year, brand new building. You just signed a new deal, agreed to a new deal, whether you sign it or not. That's where you've grown up. You've got your kids. Your daughter's a sophomore at Baylor. You've got two sons that are younger. I don't know. I just don't know if it comes down to it, if Scott Drew leaves for Kentucky.
I do think that there is something to be said about a guy that has already won a national title, that has already reached that pinnacle, turning down a job where the whole point is you can go there to win a national title, right? Like if you're Bruce Pearl and you haven't done it at Auburn, the ceiling for what you can be at Auburn, like, is it really that much more than what he's been able to accomplish? A 5 seed that gets to a Final Four, a team that wins a couple
different level player.
So
that's the difference for Bruce Pearl, right? Like
that's exactly what I'm saying is like he can go and do something that he hasn't been able to do. Whereas if you're Scott Drew and you've already done it and you have your whole life set up in Baylor and you've been there for 22 years and they'll
NBA dudes. You're getting NBA dudes anytime you. I mean, look at who they got. They got this year.
Well, and they're going to build a statue for him at Baylor. Would you want to risk that when you've already reached that pinnacle and you've proven that you can at least be close enough to do it? And it wasn't a 1-year thing with him. Remember, they were the best team in college basketball in 2020. They won the national title in 2021. They were ranked number 1 in 2022 before they had the injuries. I think it was James Akinjo and a couple. They basically went from being 9 deep to being 5.5 deep, and that's why they kind of they struggled down the end. But it wasn't a 1-year deal with him. It wasn't just like one miracle season.
Right? No, like. Again, I'm looking at these names. They're cracking me up.
Jay Wright, no. Jay Wright's not coming back.
Chapman, I like that one. Let's bring Rex there.
Jay Wright is not coming back to college basketball. That's not going to happen. Jim Harbaugh. What do you think about Jim Harbaugh's hire there?
Why not? Let's.
The best month of the year is here, which is why you need to know that we are partnered with BetMGM. We'll be using BetMGM lines for making all of our picks and predictions, and we'll have special offers for the listeners and the viewers of the Field of 68. If you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, you can use bonus code FIELD, and you will get up to a $1,500 first bet offer on your first wager with BetMGM. Here's the best part. All you need to do is deposit and bet $10 of your hard-earned money to get it. This is what you have to do to make it work. Download the BetMGM app and sign up using that bonus code FIELD. Deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game. You'll get up to $1,500 in bonus bets if your bet loses. Just make sure you use that bonus code FIELD when you sign up. Most importantly, we have some fun stuff coming up for the rest of the NCAA tournament. Bet insurance tokens, college hoops odds boost, and the thing that I love the most, a nice little parlay boost, as well as a ridiculous array of prop bets for anything that you could possibly imagine betting on. From odds on getting to the Final Four to national championship futures, I'm calling it right now. BetMGM is the king of the prop bet. So go download the BetMGM app. Use that code FIELD and sign up today. And while I've got you, a quick request. The best way to support the Field of 68 content you get for free is to engage with us. Rate and review the pod in any podcast app. Like and share the YouTube videos that you enjoy. Tell your friends about us. It all helps in a world where the algorithm is king. And now, back to the show.